So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Hey, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot.
Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Kick it.
Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Good morning,
Hello.
Sunshine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning. How are you doing?
Marvelous. You know, we're inching our way through the work week, and I feel all right about that. You know, no major complaints.
And it's hump day, so
It is.
I'm loving it.
You know, and I can't really complain because today in the hot seat on the 10 line, I have a 3-time Emmy Award-winning producer, director, the man that's on the MIC, making it happen, telling all these stories. And I've got questions that need answers.
Okay. I got answers for your questions.
Now, how is it that you knew you wanted to help others tell their story and to bring it? I like to call it edutainment, because not only are you entertaining us, but you're also educating us. And with this Through the Flames, this Reggie's Church, I mean, it's going to get deep. It's going to get a little sticky. How did you know
Yes.
that you were going to be the one to touch the mic and bring this type of information to us?
Well, I have to give credit and just thanks to my boss Ken Roger, who was a co-director on the 30 for 30 film with me, and for getting me this opportunity. But when we brought this to ESPN, you think about who's the right person to tell the story, and I think all eyes just kind of led back to me, and just my faith being a PK.
Okay,
growing up in
same.
the church. PK, my father was a pastor, my grandfather was a pastor, my
Yeah.
uncles are pastors. So I grew up in the church, and this story just hits home in so many ways. And for me, just seeing a church, a Black church, be firebombed, and one of the things about inner city church was this was a thriving mega church at the time. We look at
Yeah.
mega churches now, but back then we didn't see too many mega churches. And the
We
unique thing
didn't.
about
And it was before the whole rushing sensation of the hashtag retweets and the virals. This is something that was word of mouth. And when it was a mega church, people were really putting in that elbow grease to say, okay, this is the spot.
Exactly. And then we're talking about the South, and
Yeah.
whites and blacks, they didn't fellowship together. That just wasn't a thing. Whites went to where the places of worship, where they worship on Sundays, and blacks fellowship where they went. But this was a diverse church. Whites and blacks were getting down, praising God. And so to see that this thriving church was targeted is a tragedy. And but also black churches and places of worship were being firebombed all over America, but it wasn't being
Wild.
documented, it wasn't being investigated. So it really wasn't until this church was firebombed, and the fact that it was Reggie's church, it caught a lot of national attention. So
Yeah.
very
You
interesting
know,
story. Really examine, investigate what happened.
and even with that, Reggie White, I mean, he is a pillar in the community and a legacy builder. And this guy, he's making headline news, and is that enough? You're pulling the torch. But then they say, well, the only way we can really do something with this torch is if we torch a church. Like, how did that impact him? Like, in his words, telling those pivotal moments that really could shake somebody's faith. Because that's the kind of stuff that make you start asking some tougher questions and looking a little deeper.
Yes, I never had the opportunity to meet Reggie, but I can only imagine, just in talking to his family and friends and those close to him, this hurt him. This
Yeah.
brought him down to his knees. Probably a lot of nights of praying and trying to find the strength to continue fighting in this fight of figuring out why this happened, who did it, who's responsible, but also, he had many questions on the integrity of the ATF and the way the investigation was going. But ultimately, I think it's a sad story, and it's unfortunate that Reggie passed not knowing who
Yeah.
did this.
Right. And just knowing that people work so hard to build legacies and wanting to do it from a spirit of excellence and to lead people to a place where they can get what they need. While you're doing these type of investigations or even having these conversations, people have to relive those moments. What was the tone while even trying to get that narrative?
The tone was it was different to who you talk, and it was different
Depends.
depending on who you talk to. But I don't want to give too much, got because we definitely you'll see the hurdles that we found on trying to get to the truth. And
Courtney,
for
you got
me,
to give me something. This is the
I guess
we're family now. We're PKs. What do you mean? You got to give me something.
there's a lot of ugly truth that needed. We're digging up the past, and I found that not everybody wants to go back to that place. And I understand, but I also have a job, and I
Yeah.
have to do my best to at least do my due diligence. So, there was some tough topics that needed to be talked about, and we try to be successful as much as possible to at least ask those questions, at least from a
Yeah.
journalistic standpoint.
And while you're piecing this together, the storyboard, it has to get complex. Did you have any of those moments where you say, this might ruffle too many feathers? Let me leave this on the cutting room floor. But did you have something that was tugging on you saying, I gotta put it in there? Like if it was just
Yeah.
that one thing that you either had to keep or walk away from, how did you make that decision?
Well, I can't take all the credit. I had an amazing team of producers that worked with alongside of me. I just kind of the person that got in the booth, and am able to tell you my story, but but I had that support. But there are many things I would say more so doing the investigation. So we went down to Knoxville and
Oh, wow.
knocked on doors and walking into the attorney general's office in Knoxville. Things that, I'm a filmmaker. I tell stories. So we push, but we don't push as hard. I'm learning investigative journalist. You gotta go hard. You
Yeah,
gotta roll
knocking
up your
on doors in Knoxville, you better.
you got to, you have to. And it was something that I had to learn, like, all right, Court, like it's uncomfortable because it's unnatural to you. You're not used to doing it, but you have to do this. You have a job. You have to tell the
Yeah,
story in a fair way. So in that, you uncover meeting people who may not want to talk on a record, and that don't want to talk about something because of the fear of their life in the town of Knoxville. So you're just like, wow, where as a journalistic integrity, what can you put in? Because you don't want to do something that's going to impact someone in a negative way.
yeah,
I go to where I live, and Knoxvillians live where they are. So to answer your question, there was a lot of debate on should we put this, can we put this in, should we not? And but I do feel that listening to the podcast, you're going to be drawn in. It's a compelling, interesting story that's going to make you just have a lot of questions. And I'm very interested to see. We wanted to do it in a fair way where you got the government's perspective, the investigation perspective, but you also got perspective from Knoxvillians, and you got the perspective from some of the suspects in the
right,
investigation,
right.
and you
Ooh,
can make
ooh,
your own judgment.
I love it. I mean, if you put it all into perspective, 19, it's really not that far away. We're really not that far removed, which is even scarier, right? And probably another need to make sure that we're tuning in to see what you got to say, because this Through the Flames Reggie's Church podcast, it's up, it's streaming, it's available. And if you had one thing that you want the listeners, the viewers, to walk away with, what would it be?
I would like viewers to know that Reggie White was an amazing person who loved his people, loved his community, and tried to do right in everything he did. And then lastly is I give you two. I think where I want people to walk away is that we did a fair job in telling this story, but understanding that there's good and evil in all of mankind, in all humankind, and that comes to the surface, especially in this podcast.
Absolutely. And how can we follow you and your movement and everything that you have going on in the world of Mr. Braggs? Because I know you're nonstop.
Not trying to brag, but would love for you to follow me. I'm a very easily accessible on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, also known as X,
Yeah,
as well as portlandbrag.com. You can follow me and reach out. Would love to hear your feedback, and you can follow what I'm going to be doing next.
absolutely. And I want you to think of this as an extension of your office. So whenever you're out and about, you're knocking on doors, make your way to Louisiana, I got you covered. Okay, just hit the bird call, whoo, whoo, and I got you.
I love New Orleans. The Super Bowl is going to be down there next year,
Yeah,
so hopefully, definitely
yeah,
make my way down there.
absolutely. I know you got more work to do, so I'm gonna let you chase the sun or let the sun chase you. But either way, get after it. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Anytime. See you soon.
See you. Bye.